We thought, well, let's just get the dumpy, check the levels, bada bing, bada boom, voila. Not correct. So we're approaching the first section where I hope we want to put the level sill. We're going to put two along this run. So I thought one here, why not, and another one down there. I don't know if I messed up a bit to start with, possibly, but when we went out and marked the line with the A-frame, and then I come through with the digger and I just kind of highlighted the edge of the line. I just scooped out this little bit of topsoil stuff and I flicked it over. So you can see here, I just flicked it on top. So what I did is I just picked it up and moved it all. A lot of dirt kind of fell out of it, so I've just raked it flat. Now there is a lot of green growth underneath it, which I'm pretty confident in days this will all green up again and it will just look like that. So I know the idea is that your level sill, you don't want disturbed ground. Can you hear the kookaburras? Hey, I'm trying to film here. So you don't want disturbed ground. So hopefully I haven't ruined that too much. Now from my understanding with level sills in my research that we've done, this mark here, I don't actually know where this is going to go yet, this way, but this will set the high water line in the swale. So I'm actually just going to go and get a level. So what I want to do, I'm guessing I want to pick my high water line. Where do I want my water to sit? You know, like, you got to sort of pick a point. So this is level, right? So I don't know, I guess that's as good a place as any, you know? How do you tell? Anyway, so I'll just pick a point. Right there is my point. I'll just make a little flat bit. Okay, so that's where I want my water to sit when this is full. Now if I get the spirit level and I level across here, alright, now that is level, right there. So I should be able to go, essentially, from this point here, I'm going to use the level, across that way, keeping it level, and that'll be the start of my sill from this side that way. And then from this line back that way, I'll do like a little smooth drain, divot, mini swale to kind of link these two sides together. So I think that's a good thing. Don't know, it's the first one we've ever done, so you know, we'll see how it goes. Good morning, it's Corey from Rockpile. How are yous? So, the level sill, just watching a bird of prey. I think it's like a black-shouldered kite or something flying around. Yeah. So, the level sill, I went through a lot of detail yesterday about how I was going to do it, what I was going to do, and I did some and I showed you, and then, well, didn't quite go to plan. So last night, or yesterday arvo, we came out and set up the dumpy level, Amanda and I, and we just thought we'd check some actual levels with a dumpy to get it quite accurate. We checked our spillway, sorry, our crossover pipe in relation to the height of this. So what's my understanding of the spillway was yesterday is different today. But you know, we live and learn. We've got to do these things to realise you don't learn anything if you don't make mistakes. So what the plan is, with the dumpy yesterday, we got some new marks. So we're going to move the sill, the level part of the sill, down to here. Because what got us thinking yesterday was, okay, so we've got, if this side of the spillway has much more catchment area than that side, because we've already got to drain a trench to divert water away from that track that's up there. So we were saying yesterday, like, okay, what happens if this side fills up first, or more than that side? Once this fills up, we're going to get water running over here into there. Now we don't want running water because that creates erosion. So we don't want that. So we thought, well, let's just get the dumpy, check the levels, bada bing, bada boom, voila. Not correct. So the new one is going to be where the edge of the rake is here, which makes more sense because if we dig that down, essentially we're continuing the swale through, but we just don't have the mound. Which, now that we were talking about it last night, it just makes perfect sense. Like, why wouldn't I have done that? Why wouldn't we have thought of that the other day? It's just like, I don't know, dirt on the brain maybe. So that's what I'm going to do today. Now, I still go with the idea of we don't want to disturb this side with machinery. We want to keep that as flat and as much growth as we can. So I'm going to drive the digger around the back here, and I'm basically going to pull from this line, pull it back, and I might dump the dirt in the back of the Hilux. Back at the overflow point, the level sill spillway of the swale section. It's proving to be a fair bit of work, mainly because there's a bit of digging to do, but I'm trying to minimise the impact of the machine on, or especially this side. I don't want to disrupt that side. But just like the back and forth up here. So you can see I've just chucked a pile of dirt just through here. The track was leaving probably nearly a 75mm 3-inch indent in the soil there. So now I've just gone back to tidying it up with the shovel and the rake, and my little mate who's over there, Nev, he's laying down on the job again in the sunshine. Okay, so I have put the level through, the spirit level. I just used the big spirit level, the big 2 metre down here. Now that, believe it or not, if I put the level on it, it's level. Interesting, eh? How the flow of the earth kind of dictates level, and water will always find its own level. So what I'm doing, just working the shoveling it in. There's not that much to do. Bit of exercise in the morning is always good. Anyway, I'm going to have a coffee because I found my bloody coffee cup in the shed after a few months. I lost it. So it's full of hot coffee. I'm going to have a bit of a sip on that and we'll get cracking. So I'm going to explain what a level sill does and why I have one in the swale, in the landscape. Well, we all know what a swale does by now. It fills up with water, holds water in the landscape. But what happens when it fills up too much? It needs a place to exit. And the idea is that the water will rise in the swale like a tide. So it'll come up and eventually water will always find its own level. So once it sort of hits about here, right, it'll hit this point all the way along this line, about 4 meters we've made this, and then it will gradually just cascade over and flow on the landscape. Oh, we have a question in the background. Yes?
So what's the significance of trying to reduce the disturbance of the ground on that level sill?
Very good question, young lady back there. So to minimize, we want to minimize the disturbance because we want to keep as much, natural terrain, natural landscape as we can, because it's already established in the ground and it's got roots going in, and it's not, you can see like here, this is the mound of the swale, freshly excavated. It's very soft, right? That's the idea. Whereas here, it's already hard, compacted within reason, got a cover on it, and the water will flow. Even though this is just a bit of sand, this is just me raking the surface to get it a bit neater. When we get a little bit of rain, this will just green up like you wouldn't believe, and the water will flow across the top of the grass beautifully. How do you pick your point for your level sill? Well, after much thinking about it and a bit of research, right, we come to the conclusion that along your swale, there's probably two parts to this, possibly. I don't know if one's more important than the other, but you've got to think about where the water is going to go. Once it comes out of here, where's it going to go? So naturally, we wouldn't put it down that end because it would go into the house yard. So we've got it further down this end, so it's away from the house yard, going down there, possibly to another pond. Second of all, I found is find a piece of ground that is pretty close to flat. Like I went around with the lawnmower first and mowed it, and a lot of our grass, this paddock section is flat. Little Willie, hey Will, it's our little mate. It's flat. So I picked a section that was that I hadn't plucked rocks out of yet and left big divots in the ground. I hadn't driven over it with the machine, and I hadn't churned it up in any way. So I suppose you'd call it virgin ground, untouched ground. So they're my two things as to how to choose your spot. Oh, we have another question. My God, they're flowing in now. Yep.
So how do you make sure that level sill is at the right level, that is where the water's going to overflow and not at some other point?
Oh, well, it just so happens that I kind of stuffed up that bit. You'll see that in another video. I originally did a small level sill which I thought was going to work up here, and then after me and the boss ran the dumpy level round, we figured that the water was just going to go out the pipe crossover that you drive over, which is not ideal. So we set the dumpy, we picked a height which basically was, in our scenario here, was about, we'll call it 50 to 75 mil above the top of our pipe that goes under the crossover there. Did that with the dumpy, and then we transferred that height down to here, and that's how we got this height here. So we know that this here is that far above that pipe, and that pipe is about that far below the top of the track. So all in all, this should work. But we won't know until it rains, and I've never dug one before, and neither has Amanda. Any more questions? When's lunch? I'll ask the boss. Anyway, we're having a bit of a special class here today, involving myself and my imaginary friends out there. Been a long morning. If there's any questions, put them in the comments. If I haven't answered it or if I haven't explained it properly, I'll do my best to answer in the comments if you have any queries. What do I say? Thumbs up, tick, ring, that's ring the bell, and subscribe. Anyway, that's it. Over and out.